stand up and do the hoochie coochie, turn yourself around, which is what we want to do. We want to get the party started. I do want to just say a couple more things about Jenna. I asked Jenna to come and help with the evaluation and help behind the scenes. And you'll see why when you see some of the things that she helped me on come out. She's an incredible designer. I strongly suggest you ask for her card and call her for advice. She's got just some incredible creativity to share with everyone. So utilize that while you possibly can. Bob and Bill in the back and a couple of other friends, Angela and Corinne. It truly does take a village to get things done. Also have some helpers here that help me every year in Las Vegas. They know what it's like behind the scenes. So thank you very much to everyone for helping. Everyone was amazed at what we got done in just a couple hours last night with me basically just yelling orders to do this way. And then trying to interpret my crazy ideas in a second when I spent just a couple of minutes with them to carry it forward. Special event and our glass division is kind of new to us over the last couple of years. And a lot of people don't know that it is, I think, still spreading, still free freight, right?
Part of the pallet program, yes.
Pallet program with the special event class, free freight. Everyone knows what freight is like. I've heard a lot over the last couple of years people saying, well, no one's doing big design anymore. Caca. I see it all the time. We are even going bigger, but they want it to look like they spent $500 and they want to pay you $100. So that's where your creativity is going to come in, to show them how to take a little bit and make it look like a lot. Make it look like a lot more than you have ever done before, because they're discriminative about what they're spending right now. But people still want a big look. They want something different. We're seeing a lot of influence come out of Europe into the States. One of the things that we're going to start with is when we were over visiting in Germany and Paris, almost everywhere I went, one of the things we want to start with Fall gardens were incredibly popular because it's like transferring a little bit of life. You're sending out something that is going to survive and continue to give them pleasure over a very long period of time. Tulip bulbs, anything that can be forced can be put in these little flat trays or in a low dish so that they water it infrequently. It should be kept moist. You might want to put a gift tag with it. And then decorating it very slightly, dried oranges, raffia, things like that, that can be added to is a great way to extend some of those new styles, and it also allows you to have something in the shop that you can repurpose for later on in other ways as a centerpiece. One of the favorite finishes that we have out there, and there's a whole collection of this finish up that we sort of call the dinosaur egg. It sort of looks like a dinosaur egg finish to me. But when I saw it, I had to have this particular collection because it was so on trend. The silvers, and it really looks like there's some embedded colors in there, something again that's being repurposed and recycled. And putting a succulent garden in is right on trend for what we're seeing out and available right now. The succulents, like we said, don't need as much care as some of the other plants do, so it's going to survive in lower lighting, number one, which is really important. People tend to overwater before they do anything, and that's important that you put care tags with what you're sending out, and that you're looking for plants that are different and unusual. This looks prehistoric, which is perfect to go in a container like this, because it's really different, some of the things that are tucked down in there. And then using just a bit of mushroom sponge to tuck in, or one that can be layered underneath, can really dress it up and give it a whole different look, so that the consumer is seeing that, again, you are a professional, you know what trends are and where it's going, and it's an inexpensive way to dress some of these things up. So look for those different gardens, different style plants that you can have for crossover. The other designs that come with those particular shapes would allow you to have that finish in an everyday design, and then also look for those force bulbs that you can put in. One of the other things that we have available that we just came up with, and Angie was one of the ones that was helping specifically with this, was platforms that you can slip down into a dish garden or an arrangement for a figurine or those accessory pieces like we talked about on. They're steel, so they're very sturdy. They'll go down in for a sympathy piece, and therefore you don't have to, how many times have we taken hyacinth sticks and wire picks and aluminum wire and trying every way to get something to sit in a design. This is a perfect way, and they come in 3 different sizes. They're available out on the shelves floor. Be sure to look for them out there so that you have the appropriate size for the appropriate design that you're using. Starting to look at some of the event glass that we have available, it was a pleasure to get to work on this, and then as soon as it came in, I got to immediately take it and play with it. And I'd love to look at ways that I can build or layer for budgets. How many people come in and right away say, I have an unlimited budget for this party? Not as many as we would like, right? Usually they come in and they bring these photographs in and they want you to spend up to $45. I've got a big budget. Right? I've got a big budget. I only have 20 tables. And they want something that looks like this. What I direct them to is, why don't we take the money from 3 tables, put one of these designs on one of those 3 tables, on the other 2 tables, maybe on one we do candles and floating rose petals and something like that that complements it. On the other one we put just the cylinders that are down below. You have to use your creative, professional advice to direct them through getting what they want. If someone comes in with a big budget idea that doesn't match their budget realistically, then as a professional we need to direct them through that. So look at things like that. What we started with here is you can start on a table, the lower budget might be just the cylinders, then maybe we add the floral ring that's on the bottom, then we can go up to the cylinder with floating candles or acolytes in the bottom of it to illuminate it from inside, and then maybe the 4th version would be to put that huge design of roses on top, and I love making that because it's like this tall and this big around. Even more fun was watching people try to carry it on stage. and the people on the front row sort of gritting their teeth as I was placing it just over their heads. But if your mechanics are on spot and you've designed it correctly, you shouldn't have any problem. But you do want to do one of these, put it together, test it out. I usually will knock the table a little bit with my leg to make sure that it's not going to go anywhere. Test everything. I did a wedding in Michigan, and we had about 4 senators that were attending that wedding, and we had a huge budget. Each centerpiece was $53. We had 42 tables. Which meant that it was an enormous amount of flowers. There were 15 stems of phalaenopsis orchids that were spilling out. It was absolutely beautiful. When the designer I was working with, when we did this concept, we put it together, and I got there, the glass vase was so thin, I was terrified. All I need to do is take out a center. I'm pretty sure that they would never let me out of jail. I could just see that happening, so I purposely designed one, set it on the table 4 days before, and every day I went by that and I tapped it, and I tapped the table, and I hit it with my ring, and I put candles underneath it. I did everything I could to make sure that was going to be okay. We did not have any issues when we set everything up, and it was absolutely beautiful. But you always want to test before you even send something out. Some of the different shapes other than cylinders that we have, and I started with cylinders because that's one of the most popular sizes or shapes that I'm still seeing out there. From a 6-inch all the way up to a 24, 30, 42-inch. We have them in several different sizes and widths that are available, and they are, again, all on display out there. I encourage you to look at it, revisit it. Revisit some of those parties that you're going to do and sell some of those table stakes, which is a way to keep things in stock, offer them as a rental item. You want to charge accordingly and appropriately, and if you come to the special event class of Foliology, we will explain to you exactly how to charge for that, how to sell that, and we get to design it. So you can take that knowledge back to your shop and actually have first-hand experience in working with it. On the back of the programs is a schedule of all the photology classes that are coming up. I'm not even going to try to remember them. I try to look at where I have to be next week, and sometimes I'm not even very accurate on that. But Nicole is here to call me and tell me where I should be and when. But look at what's available out there. Look in your inventory and see how you might be able to supplement with some of the glass that we've got available. One of the things that I particularly like are the squares, because they're never going to go away. How long have these cubes been popular, and how many different ways can we use them? One of the ways that I love doing this is this wheatgrass. Down here, you can use permanent botanicals, silk, plastic, whatever you would like to call it, whatever is available in your area, to complement or use for those add-on cells. But this wheatgrass is a great way to fill up the inside of that container. It's wrapped with that aspergillus ribbon that's available from LoomNet. It covers up your mechanics. But if you raise it up and cut it a little bit shorter, I love being able to look at the dirt and the roots that would be down at the bottom. It gives it a whole other layer, a whole other texture, a whole other look. And add those into anything that you might be putting on those tables as just a little add-on, or what I like to call bathroom buddy. Don't forget the washrooms. It's one of the great places. Women, they will go in those restrooms and they know everyone in there before them. They're sharing all kinds of secrets. You can hear them in that room next door when we're trying to dash in, dash out, and we're waiting outside and we don't know. Was there a monster that ate my wife on the other side? And she comes out with 3 new best friends. We have to also meet them and go through that. But one of because they do spend time in there, and they generally have areas to sit things in there, we do not. We have a basin and some hand towels or one of those new blow dryers for your hands, and that's about it. But in those ladies' rooms, there's furniture and there's all sorts of places where you can set flowers. Don't forget that sales opportunity to add that in. One of the other things that we want to remember with the cylinders especially is you can't sell your Fitz bracelets from the back room. But why don't you sell them for special events? Or to that young man that comes in that is in the doghouse, I tell him right away that flowers is not going to get him out of the doghouse. It's going to need some jewelry. Because once you're in the doghouse, it takes a lot more to get out. So sell them something to go on that base as an adornment. Put it out there. Keep it out on your sales floor. Show them other options. Use it as a bridesmaid's gift. We give the bridesmaid now their bouquet, and then we take it away to use it on a table as a centerpiece. We need to designate this some way. So I usually add on to that a wrist corsage for them to wear during the night, so that they know that it's a special person that you wanted to participate in your wedding. But use it to decorate as a collection, or create that candlescape or that tablescape with just a few flowers. This has about 4 or 5 blooms on it, a little bit of the beaded wire from Smithers on there. Gives it a great look. It doesn't take very long to put it together, and it's a great way for you to beef up those cylinders that you either rent or sell to them and send them out the door. Also, too, we partner with Fitz. I'm lucky enough to be on both design teams because I'm the Fitz design team as well, and I get to play with lots and lots of bling bling, and I love that. You can't have enough bling, and do not for a second think the guys don't like bling. I don't care who they are. They may not admit it in front of someone else, but they do like bling, especially because they're seeing it everywhere. With all the advertising that's out there and on Facebook and other social media, you're going to see a lot of it. The magnets that we're using now for the boutonnieres, and they go right on the back, also will secure. Oh, I can't get this one to sit flat in there. Will secure to the outside of the cylinder because I've got the bracelet on there. It won't sit flat. So you can glue those flowers on the outside of your cylinders as well. So your party cylinders can be decorated from the outside in or from the inside out. If someone has a lower budget, take those flowers and spin around the outside, put a candle on the inside, and you've got a beautiful centerpiece that's relatively low budget. because you have to think of ways like this to use some of the containers that are out. The customer then gets to see all these great tips and techniques that are in the store and are available. Remember, we were talking about clustering or grouping flowers. It makes the color stronger, it makes the texture stronger. You want to make sure that you're utilizing that in the shop, and then coming up with some new foliages. Everyone came up and asked, and I used this in the last program, what this wonderful new foliage is. It's been out for probably 20 years or more and available, but comes packaged in a mixed box. You can probably buy it singly, but I buy it in a mixed box of Australian foliage. Funny story is, when I didn't know what a foliage was when I first started, I always told them it's from Australia. Then they started selling Australian foliage, and I got in a lot of trouble because I still didn't know what it was. This particular one is umbrella palm. Comes in two different ways, but you can see how much bang for the buck, because it doesn't take a whole lot to do a whole lot. And that's a beautiful design, but if you add just a couple of pieces down inside there, now look at what we've got. You're selling them something that's this large. So a little bit can go a long way. That's 4 pieces of foliage tucked in with those flowers that are clustered together. It doesn't necessarily have to be anthurium. I love that chartreuse green of anthurium. It could just as easily be fujimums or carnations or any other inexpensive flower to create that same look. So look for things on the market that are available to utilize in your special event containers to create that big bang look for that low budget event. The glass bowl that we created is one of my favorites because it's so versatile. You can use it in a low horizontal design like this, which can be used at either an altar, the entryway for a party. It could be in a hallway, on a sofa table, on those long family style tables. It's a great way to take what you might be doing up here on some of the tables and take it down here. And it's footed, so it gets it just enough up off the table. But what you want to remember when you're putting bowls like this on the table is the rule of thumb: put your elbow on the table. The design should be below the wrist or above the head, so as not to impede conversation to the other side of the table. Especially with those family style tables, which are like in the back 8-foot tables. Family style, sometimes they call them knights tables. It just represents that elongated family group setting. And that's very popular because actually at a round table, when you think about it, you can't talk to anyone except the people on either side of it. Because at a 72-inch table, unless you're yelling, and Emily Close frowns on that at weddings, or using a bullhorn, or talking on your phone at an event. If they're sitting across the table, a 72-inch table, it's hard to have a conversation. If you're at an 8-foot table, you can talk to the 2 people on either side of it and the 3 people across from you. So it really is much more intimate, but it also cuts down on our design space. Therefore, I want to fill that space as much as I can, and on the other tables, put something up here or use a combination of both. That way, you've got that low rise to fill down here, because you can nestle in some really tall cylinders around here, floating candles or some flowers that would be up above the head with just a few branches. Extend that horizontal look. I think people forget about that from time to time. Everyone wants to go just vertical and straight up to make it look as big as possible. But in a tall cylinder like this, if you take something and actually extend it like this, then you're creating this size rather than just this. So don't forget that horizontal design is popular, as well as allows you to be a bit more manipulative with some special product, branches, curly willow, liatris, gladiolas, anything like that that can get that projection out and really fill out. Here we did this one for holidays, tucked in just one red ornament to get that shiny red down there, the green glass gems that are in the bottom of it. I do love anthuriums and tropical flowers because they hold up so well for special events especially. You can do this much earlier in the week, and then it will carry forward for the rest of the week with without having to try and crunch everything you're going to do that last day. So try to combine it. And someone challenged me when we were at market how you could use other product, tropical product. Mix it with roses, mix it with carnations, why not? Put those carnations tucked in down low for that color spot underneath, and only do 2 or 3 amphibian or orchids on top. You've got the color right there, and you've got your money, which is where they spent the majority for that design, layered on top. So it doesn't take a whole lot to really make it look like there is a lot in there. These glass bowls also provide you with a great water source and allow you to do something vertical if you would like, and actually take it up to the top. Everyone already discovered in the last program that I love to use garbage. So when I found this is a knot in a tree that I found in the woods when we were foraging. It's just been bleached and cleaned out, just a drill to cut the saw through there. Everyone saw me bring in a bag of concrete yesterday, and they were like, oh goodness, this can't be good. Jackie with concrete and big sticks. One gal that just came over from Lowe's that you of course want to fill something up. And I would green it up or do a nice complementary design down there, fill up that interior. But it's everyone's been very, very nervous with me having this wiggle around like that. But it's that way on purpose, because if I wanted to pull it over one way or the other, I could, so I want that flexibility. But I try to create places for the bride to then showcase her beautiful day.
Wow. That's fabulous.
This is going to be a way to take a beautiful container from NAPCO, make it a permanent rental piece that you can utilize and rent it again and again and again. Because if you show this to a bride that this is where we're going to put your bouquet, it doesn't have to be a piece of wood. I love driftwood and things that look really natural. It could just as easily be some wire, some aluminum wire. You can make an armature to lay the bouquet across. We could go back to doing something that's in a horizontal. But to do that look, the waterfall look, and cascades are coming back in, we just simply put a little bit of bouillon on the carnations. They are pinned in with some corsage pins into the bottom of the bouquet to spill out, because I like the playfulness of that, the way that it really moved. As she walked down the aisle, I will tell you that if a woman has cascades like that, then they're going to be creaming. It's like they've got another accessory that's been clear all the way down. That's one of the reasons that cascades are coming back in, because they love that complement to their dress and the way that it flows. And then using just 3 of the fifths new pins that we've got to add a little bit of gleam in there. Again, be thoughtful when you're using some of those accessories, because they're, although I'm not quite certain I've ever seen winkling overdone, I'm sure that there's got to be one. And I'm from the South, and it's not done until it's overdone. And I believe in that a lot. So come up with different ways that you can utilize some of the containers that you have in the back to display them and display them in a different way. One of the other new products that we've got out on the sales floor, I want to make sure, Karen, be sure and step over to where the special event class is. You want to stand up so everyone can see it? One of the new products that we've got is this glittered sparkle floral tape. And this is just air taping, just twisting into itself. Very strong and sturdy, very gummy. It's like the regular floral tape we have, but it doesn't have to be covered up. And how many colors do you have? We have 4 available colors that are out there, and she's going to be out there to show you some really cool ways, like is that a gecko?
Oh, and a frog.
A gecko or a frog that she made out of the tape that's out there, so you can learn some really cool things. Be sure and stop by the sales floor out there so that you can see some of the different things. But isn't that sweet? Just a little token nosegay that you can use for a flower girl or for a mother. Moms don't really like wearing corsages too much anymore, so this is a great option to be able to bring some color into just some simple flowers. One of the things that I did with it is because, again, I'm from the South, it has to be ocean. Because butterflies are so big, to just create a beautiful bouquet. This is one bunch of orchids, one bunch of ruscus, and two pieces of Italian ruscus. Sorry, one bunch of foxia. And that's where I started, and everything is glued into the foxia. So you start with the bouquet there and begin to glue everything, but I love the way that you can use this tape on top with that little bit of sparkle. And this lighting in here doesn't complement the glitter very much. But going out or being in the church where they've got a lot of halogen lighting, it would show up dramatically. To be able to cast that, to shadow that, put it on top, layer some of that color in there. And so look for that tape out on the sales floor. Be sure and take some of those ideas home with you. A new way to use a product that's been around for a very long time. So I love this. Thank you so much. Looking at some of the other glassware that we've got available. Looking at some of the glassware that we have available. One of the things that I thought this one was coming up, because this is one of my favorites. I love the topsy-turvy base because you can use it either direction. If you want to do something that's up on top and do horizontal, then I would go with this with that low bow. If you want something that's more vertical, you can flip it up like this. So the options are just vast as far as what you can really do. Filling something up on the inside doesn't necessarily have to be floral product because your budget may not allow that. What we're going to do is just show a couple of options to change the look of this dramatically. This is just done in a loamy dish right down at the bottom with some more of those wire orbs that are created. And using this as projection makes the design look like it's this size as opposed to just that. Orbs are still incredibly popular because they're everywhere. They're on the tables, they're down the aisle, they're used as an entrance piece in collections with those tablescapes to add in a little bit of color. You don't want to forget having something on the table underneath, and it can be something just as much as that. Beautiful color, scooted right underneath, so that it can create something down there, place some candles around it. Of course, it's not done until it's open. And take some tall branches and insert once you get it on site, and you can turn that centerpiece into an incredible display. You can even have your driver do this. I know I've had some of the best work in the classes that have been from the accountants and the drivers because they see everything you do and they remember it and they do not let you forget it. They're also the one that's out there to represent your company to every person that they deliver to. I know, I told the designer they should have changed that. They'll chat, they'll talk, and that's your client is going to remember those people because they see them. They represent your company to the public. And then to bring in a little bit of that color up here, you can take the idea that we used on the other one here and just extend the color quickly around, and you have a rainbow of raining flowers like an umbrella over a table. Another option that you can use for this is to take some of those, escort cards, table assignments to be hung on here. A wishing tree, very popular for special events now, where you write a special wish to the bride and groom, hang it on the wishing tree, and then supposedly they'll read those on their honeymoon. They read those in 10 years, when they take all that stuff back out and look at it one more time to remember who was there and who wished them well when they were there. Bring the next one out. Does this glass make my hand look smaller? This is for those afternoons when one martini just went. I'm not just going to drink tonight, I'm going to bathe. I had the pleasure of, when we were in Vegas, seeing one of the Cirque du Soleil's, and they do have a big martini glass that someone takes a really nice bath. It's incredible, it's huge. But this is one of the lines that we've got out there, which martinis, martini luges are extremely popular now for brides and grooms because a lot of couples are doing a signature drink. So it fits perfectly with what they're doing. It doesn't have to be a whole lot. Again, this is just really simple. One protein in the center, bunch of the yellow calla lilies around the base, and then a few pieces of that umbrella palm to really give a dramatic look. This could just as easily go down on the table, but look how dramatic it looks like this to complement on the bar and give them another option. When you two get through admiring So we have it in two different sizes. So you've got a dramatic centerpiece for the center of the cocktail hour, or over by the bar, or in the entrance, or I firmly believe we should have one in all of those places. So set them together, do one singly on some of the other tables. This represents the straw, of course, and we just played around with doing it with a less amount of product, which is entirely possible. But also don't forget that very much in today's special event market, it's all about the lighting. And you have to make sure that you've got some dramatic lighting around the base. And these are acolytes. They come with a remote. You can turn it on. It actually comes in 3 different settings. It will flash or flicker like a candle. And it also will flash annoyingly if you want that on the table. But it does have several different options. The main thing is that you are illuminating anything that you're putting on the table so that it has that dramatic edge. Very important to add lighting into what you're providing for your clients so that it complements everything that's going on. The last piece that we're going to bring up is that one of the reasons that I really enjoy working with Jenna is because she can take a simple idea, and we worked on this together.
It's great.
Because it truly isn't done until it's done. And sort of explain to her a little bit of what I want to do. I love using grapevine like this because it extends the look of the cylinder. And even though grapevine isn't something you would normally think about using with a reflective or mercury mirror type cylinder, you can see by adding in that aluminum wire, we're bringing that flashy silver on the inside to the outside of the natural design. When she first started, Jenna, like me, is a retail florist. We think on what would I be able to sell in the shop. I like to think big. And if you can show your clients the possibilities, they can also think big. It's very important to not sell on your pocket. And we do that all the time. I can't afford to buy this, I can't sell it. I can't afford to not sell it because I need to buy something else. So you have to turn that around to the positive. Utilize what you can do and expand on that. Maybe you don't have a budget to do this on every table, but 1 or 2 in the center of the room and the entrance table, and then complement it with something smaller, the lower bowl or the topsy-turvy vase, to add on another one and add some of that beautiful tulip. The tulip anthurium is really popular because it just looks so different, and it gives you a different option to use. Looks great tucked down in with roses really close, but don't forget to sell the stem. Pulling these in close where we had them first didn't really allow us the opportunity to showcase them. So thank you very much, Jenna, for taking my concept and really expanding that. It was really fun to be in the back room while the competition was going on because as I was sharing with everyone when we did the setup before, as far as what they were going to do, I like to take ideas and learn from everyone else around me. When I stop learning, I'll just sit behind the computer and utilize my accounting degree because I make a lot more money. It's hard making money selling flowers. it takes a lot. It takes all of us together. It takes the support of great companies like Lumnet and Amco, incredible product from like Fitz and Smithers and the other partners that we partner with. It's very important that you utilize that community. The same is so about all the people that are in your shop and the other people that are around you that you can get that information from. Like I said earlier, batteries will suck the power out of each other. You need to do that creatively with everyone around you as well. And being able to be back there and watch these 5 talented designers take the exact same product, exact same containers, and come up with so many different options was truly a joy. I wish everyone could be back there. But just looking through, I want to explain what we gave them as projects, because I think it's very important that when you're competing, and you should compete every opportunity you can, because you can learn so much. You can learn